Okay, welcome to today's training for community plugins. This is a customization that is available in the Meta Customizations catalog. I'm going to share my screen. Community plugins is a customization that's available in the Meta Customizations catalog. However, not just accessible in the catalog, it is accessible on the PowerSource Exchange. So any districts, any users, not just Meta members, not just Meta Customizations catalog members, but anyone who has access to PowerSource Exchange through PowerSchool can see this customization community plugins. Community plugins, it serves as a resource for users to maintain their external plugins by checking for updates, researching new suggested plugins, and downloading plugins that are suitable for each individual district's needs. This customization is available on the PowerSource Exchange, and this is allowing participation from many districts. Again, not just our Meta members and not just our Meta Customization Catalog members, but anyone who downloads this from the Exchange is then part of the community within Community Plugins. Community Plugins allows users, again, to suggest and access plugins that are not listed on the official PowerSource Exchange. So again, any of those external plugins that maybe you have installed and enabled in your district that are not downloaded via the PowerSource Exchange, that information is accessible within Community Plugins. Community Plugins, it offers automatic detection and alerts for outdated plugins that you may be running within your PowerSchool SIS. This makes for a very efficient way to manage your plugins because it's reducing the manual effort that was previously needed to check and update each and every individual plugin. With this customization, you can ensure you're always using the latest tools that are available without having to navigate away from your PowerSchool environment. So again, this is where the information and some screenshots are available within PowerSource. I'm going to log out of here, and you're going to see why in a minute. And I'm going to go back into our training database, and we are going to go ahead and take a look at our community plugins. We do have a note for our Meta member districts. Meta doesn't maintain external plugins. All of those third-party plugins, those are maintained by the publishers, the developers that have created those plugins. You now, with community plugins, have the ability to install and update your plugins as you see fit best for your individual district. Meta will no longer be updating the plugins for you. Again, Meta member districts, district leaders, you will be able to update those again as you see fit. For all community plugin users, so our Meta members, our catalog members, and anyone who downloads community plugins off the Exchange, our recommendation is that you come to community plugins, you come to the community plugins page on a regular basis. So you want to make a reminder on your calendars, however frequent you think that should be, but you do want to visit this page regularly, and we'll show you why, but most importantly, it's to see what updates you have available. In our training box here, you'll notice on the blue navigation bar, we see a green number 14 right on the Meta Solutions logo here. When you have the community plugin customization, when you have it installed and enabled, you will see on your start page if you have any plugins that have updates available. That is what this green number badge is showing you. For our test box, this is letting us know we have 14 plugins that have updates available. This number badge will only display on your start page. As you navigate through other pages in PowerSchool, student pages, school building level page, any other pages, you will not see the green number badge. This will only appear when you are on your start page. You can access the community plugins page by navigating through System Management, Customizations, Community Plugins, or you can click on this green number directly on your navigation bar. That'll open the Meta Solutions slide out. And you see right here in this green banner, Updates Found, Open Community Plugins. And you can click on that, and again, it'll take you directly to the page. Or you can use your left navigation. Again, that's System Management, Customizations, Community Plugins. Once you land here on Community Plugins page, you'll see Community Plugins, and you can already see how many contributors there are participating as part of this community with this customization. You are going to be defaulted to your updates available. If you'll remember on our start page, we saw that green number 14. We can see that here we have 14 updates available, and those 14 updates are listed here below. And we can click through those pages here on this bottom pagination. You'll see that the plugins are listed, and it gives you the plugin name, the publisher of the plugin, a brief description. There's a fee column. The fee column will display a $ sign to let you know that specific plugin does have an associated cost. You'll also see a status column, a suggested column, and then an actions column. In your status column, again, we are on our updates. We can see that currently we are running this first plugin. We have our version 23.12.22 is what we have currently installed and enabled in our train database. It is letting us know that there is an update available, which is version 24.6.3. So that is the status column, what it's showing you. In the suggested column, you'll see the numbers listed here. These are the numbers of districts, community users that have suggested this particular plugin. So if you like a plugin, we'll show you here in a little bit how you can suggest it to the other community members. This is, again, super beneficial to share information with other community users. What you find works well in your district, you can suggest that to others. So you'll see those numbers listed here. And then you'll see an action column with lots of icons. And you'll see as I hover over the action header, the yellow question mark is highlighted. And if I click on that, it will expand my action buttons to tell me exactly what those buttons are doing. This is helpful as you get started with community plugins and become familiar with how these action buttons work. You may like to have those descriptions on there. You can turn that off by simply clicking on that highlighted yellow question mark, the action header. You can click on that to turn it off if you would like. Also on this page, you'll notice there is a filter. You can filter to look for specific plugins. When you're using the filter, it is going to search through the items, the plugins that you have listed. Right now, we have 14 updates listed. So we could click in the filter here and we could start typing in, and we can see as how the filter starts to narrow down based on what we're typing in. You can use the filter again for any of these tabs. So these tabs right now, we're on the updates. You'll notice we have 3 other tabs here, not enabled. So if we click on that, you can see you can view multiple tabs at one time. If you work through one tab and you want to then look at the next one, you simply unclick it and again, look at one tab at a time. Again, however your preference is when you come to this page. You'll notice on our Not Enabled tab, we have listed the plugins that are currently installed on our training database. You will see plugins in your system that are currently installed, but they're not enabled. So that is what this column is showing. You can see these first plugins. We can see that we have enabled we have installed version 3.3.1, but there is an updated version available. We can download that updated version and we can then navigate to plugin configuration and enable it if we want. Below, you'll see these say not enabled. So again, we are looking at plugins that are installed on our server but are not enabled. These plugins do not have updates available. So we could click on the not enabled. That will take us to plugin configuration, where we could then enable that plugin if we wanted directly on plugin configuration. We could do that directly from here. So again, this is showing you plugins you have installed. They're not enabled. Some of the ones that you don't have enabled may have updated plugins, and others don't have updates, but you also don't have them enabled. Again, you can use your filter or navigate through pages as you would like while you're on this tab. Our next tab is not installed. So the not installed tab displays plugins that you do not have installed on your server, but other community plugin users have suggested these plugins. So you will see all of the plugins listed. There are many different pages worth of plugins that have been suggested by other community members. And again, you can see how many suggestions those plugins have gotten. You can search if you would like using your filter. You can filter your results and see any of those plugins. Here is an example of that $sign that's listed if there's a fee associated with a plugin. So you can see again, these are plugins you do not currently have installed or enabled. So this would be plugins that are suggested by other members. And our last tab, Up to Date. Up to Date shows you, just as it says, your plugins that are installed, that are enabled, and they are up to date. If you have, you can see the information's listed here, and in the status is empty because again, they're up to date. There are no updates available, and you have them installed and enabled. So this information is empty. Again, you can see your suggested numbers listed here. You will also see on your Up to Date tab, you will see if you have skipped any versions. And we will talk about this skipped here in just a second. But any skipped updates that you have skipped an update, they'll be listed on your Up to Date tab. And as you go through and look at your community plugins, as you look at different tabs and as you filter information, you can refresh your display at any time hitting the refresh. So let's start with our updates. So again, this is how you're going to come to this page. This is the very first thing you're going to see when you come to this page. If you want to download the file for update from the plugin listed, you can click directly on this blue link or on this download icon, the very first action icon listed. When you click on this link or the download icon, and you can hover over it and it's telling you what you're doing, we're downloading from PowerSource. When you click on those links, you will see you may be prompted to log in. This particular plugin that I clicked on can be found on the Exchange. I wasn't currently logged in. You'll remember at the beginning I was logged in and then I logged out. This is why I wanted to show you that when you first come to this page, if you are not currently logged into PowerSchool, it is going to prompt you to log in. When you log in, you will then be directed to the plugin that you clicked on. So we can now see the plugin that we clicked on. We can see the version that is listed, the current version 24.6.3, and we can download the file if we want to update. And we download and it goes to our downloads. We can go back to community plugins. Again, this is where we see we're currently running 23.12.22. And we just downloaded that 24.6.3. Now that we have the file and we want to update our plugin, we can click on this next action icon, which will take us to, you can see as I hover, it says plugin configuration. It's taking us to plugin configuration, but it's actually opening up that specific plugin that we are updating. So we see that plugin that we want to update. We're taken directly to the page where we can click update, and we can then select the file that we just downloaded, the zip file. We can select that, and then we can proceed as we would to update that plugin. The next icon, action icon, is the skip icon. With the skip icon, you can skip a specific version if you want to, if you don't want to update it. You have the option to skip it. Maybe there's a reason you're content with the version that you're on right now, or maybe you need to finish some things before you update and you don't want to see it listed on your updates anymore. You can click the skip button. And remember, we've got 14 updates, but if I click skip, it is going to skip that version. And my updates now say I have 13 updates. If I go to my up-to-date tab, I can see that I just skipped this version and it's listed here. If I come back at a later time and I now want to download this updated version, I want to now enable that on our server, you can do that directly from here, from this page, or you can revert your skip. So you can see the back arrow. Now we can restore that plugin, which will now take it and put it right back onto our updates. So if you wanted to restore it back to your updates and then take a look at it, you could do that then. When you would want to use the skip, we will tell you we do have some recommendations when using the skip. For example, right here we see log entry management, this plugin, and it says that we're currently on version 24.2.2, and it says that version 24.6.0 is available. Again, we can click on this status or our download button, and it will take us again. It's going to take us to that publisher's website. Again, this is a PowerSource, I believe, yes, a PowerSource plugin. And as we look at this here, you'll see that version number listed here. If this version number was not what is listed on the community plugins, it does say 24.6.0, but maybe 24.2.2 is what was listed on PowerSource. That is an example of when we would suggest to you to skip a version. You wouldn't want to see it on your updates page because the plugin is already updated according to what is available. When you would see a number listed here that is not available on the PowerSource site when you navigate to it, That may happen when potentially the publisher, the developer of that plugin, maybe they've made a change to the plugin, and when they make a change, it increments the version number, but it doesn't upload that new version. Maybe they're working on it on their own box and they haven't made that available yet. So it would indicate here that there is an update available when in actuality you are already running the latest version. Additionally, another scenario when that might happen is when maybe another user has created a plugin with the same name and it has a different version number. Those are instances when you click on to download. If you notice that your version you're running is already the updated version and this next version number is not available, that is when we would recommend that you use your skip option. Okay. The next action item icon listed is your thumbs up. This is where you can suggest a plugin. Again, if you have a plugin that you have installed and that is enabled and you're utilizing and it's very helpful within your district, you can suggest this plugin to the other community members by clicking on this thumbs up. You'll notice when you click that thumbs up, it does turn that action item green. So you will see now you have suggested this plugin to the community. If perhaps you clicked on this by accident, you can easily click it again to remove that suggest that you had. And you'll notice when we click that, our suggested numbers did increment and then updated when we took that off. So that is how you suggest plugins to other community users. The next action item you can see as we hover over is an email option. When you click on this, you have the ability to email the publisher of this of this plugin. When you click on that, it does open your email, your preferred email, and you'll see that it will automatically email directly again to the publisher of that plugin. And in the subject line, it lists the plugin name. This is helpful. So it's auto-filling that in for you. So then you could type in any questions or maybe a reported issue that you have, or you want to send a message, you can do that. And this information is already populated for you. And your last action item is the edit button. This allows you the ability to edit the information on the listed plugins. You can see that the pop-up modal appeared. And again, this is where you can enter any information as needed. Maybe there was a plugin that used to not have a fee and now there's a fee associated. You could indicate that. As with all information, when editing or adding plugins, you will be required to have a valid email address, or I'm sorry, valid website listed here. And if you have to make any edits, you could then click update. Okay, any questions so far on the community plugins, the tabs, what the information means, how you access those files for updating? Any questions so far? Okay, we will take a look at one other area here in this top section before we move to the bottom. When we're looking at the not installed plugins, again, these are plugins that have been suggested by other community plugin users. If you find one that you do want to have installed, enabled on your server, you can see you currently don't have it installed. Again, you can click on this status not installed or download to access that file. So we can click on that. Again, it'll take us where we need to download the file. So we have it downloaded. And if we go back to community plugins, you'll notice on our action icons, we don't have the plugin icon that we had on our updates action. That is because these plugins, again, they're not installed on our server. So we don't have information to update. This is brand new and we have to install it. So you will see there's a link right here in your upper right-hand corner that will take you to plugin configuration. And this is where you would follow how you install any new plugins. You click install. And again, then you will choose your file that you just downloaded and then install. Once it's installed, then you'll be prompted to enable it again, as you would with any other new plugin. Okay. All right, now let's take a look at this section down here at the bottom, the add a plugin to community. You can click on this to drop down the information listed here. In this section at the bottom, this is a list of plugins that you currently have installed and enabled on your server that have not yet been suggested by any other community plugin users. So you have the ability to add these plugins to the community if you would like by simply clicking add a plugin. Again, it's going to pull up the information of the plugin. This is where, again, you will be required to enter a website, a valid website for this plugin where community members would go to access the file. Once you fill this information out, you can click add, and that plugin would be added to the community. There's also an option here to email if you wanted to email the publisher developer of the plugins listed here. So again, these are your non-community plugins that you have that you can add to the community. You are only able to add plugins to the community if you have them installed and enabled on your server. Those are the ones that you would be able to add. So if you are not currently running a plugin, you would not be able to add it until you would see it here. Okay. Sarah, did we cover? That is pretty much the entirety of the community plugins, the page, how to access it, how it works, what all of these action icons are. Again, it's we recommend that you visit this page periodically. A good indicator of when to come to this page is when you see that green number badge on the start page on the Meta Solutions logo. That's letting you know updates are available. You can, again, research any plugins that have been suggested that you might find helpful within your district. That's a good tool to utilize.
Sally, I just had a couple notes. One, and to build on what you just said about doing some research, if you want to click on one of those and just flip us back to PowerSource for a second.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of information on this page, including what's the latest version. You should be able to see, here's where you find the website up there. But also notes. So if you look at the comments, some plugins are really old. They haven't been updated in years. Other ones have maybe comments on it. Hey, this used to work, now it's not working. Or here's, so while you also have the ability to use that email link, you can also come to this plugin and just add to the comments, because this is how I found out, for instance, the multi-select plugin. has some issues in this last update. And I could see that by going to the comments and see that a lot of people put comments on it that said it wasn't working. So lots of different information here before you decide if you want to download it or not. You can see what it does, what the latest thing is, but I always encourage you to maybe look through the comments instead of just saying, hey, I like the title of this. Look at the screenshots, look at the description, see what it is. The other thing they have, see that number 17 over there? That's the old way that before we had this plugin, people would just go and vote for it. So now on the community plugin, Sally, if you want to go back there, this is anybody who's started using it since we put this plugin out. So 6 people have said, hey, I really like this. And, you know, so just because it has a low number doesn't mean that it's not great or not really good. It means that we just started using this plugin. As Sally said, you can click on that thumbs up. I really like it. Well, maybe after you've started using it for a little bit, you're like, I really don't like it. Come back here and unclick that. So you're no longer suggesting it. So, the other thing is I'm seeing 10 at a time. I don't really like that. I can change that number and I can see 25 or 50 at a time. I like to work that way. Just a different way to look at it. So
You
I think,
mentioned-
other than that, Sally, you went through everything really well. We might want to talk about page permission. We've had some people say, well, I don't want everybody to see that number. I only want a couple people to see that number or to be able to update. You would control that with your security through page permissions.
Mhm.
But other than that, that is how this community plugin is meant to work. It was a huge lift for our developers to monitor this, and every time there's an update, we used to roll that all into our catalog. We've taken all the externals out of our catalog, which is what now, the question is, I saw some stuff in red, I see some stuff in green. We can talk about the red. But the green are these external plugins. Sometimes also, in addition to taking you to PowerSource, it might take you directly to the website of the developer. For instance, PSCB. There are some PSCB reports here, and if you haven't purchased their package, it's going to take you to their site where you're going to have to create an account and log in, because we don't maintain these. These are not ours. These are customizations from other people other than us.
And again, where you would be prompted to log into their site to then access and download that specific plugin. Mhm. Sarah, you mentioned multi-select. That is something that a lot of districts and we love very much. So within your districts, those of you on the call with us today, you'll notice multi-select does have an update available. We did see some issues with multi-select, like Sarah said, when you come to that developer site, that publisher site, if it's on the PowerSource, you can look at comments. Comments is great to view information. And with multi-select, there are a lot of comments because it's been around and it is very heavily utilized. But if your district is using multi-select, which again, I believe most of you on this call are, if you want to download the update, you should see that in your community plugins as an update, and you can follow those, the link here, the download to update as you see fit.
And I don't even know if this most current update, if she's fixed yet, the clear all button went away. There was something else with multi-select, but it's all in the comments.
And you can see when you come to the at least through PowerSource, you can see all of the updates that have been made, and that information, again, like Sarah said, you can follow the information here, see the
Yeah, and the
screenshots, look
date
at the
she did it.
comments. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, you know, it's another one of those, every time there's a PowerSchool update, they break something, PowerSchool breaks something. They've
Yeah.
broken some of our stuff, and we have to go fix it. I think
Yeah.
that was the issue with Multi-Select, where I think PowerSchool broke it, and she just needs to go in and correct it.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
yeah, that's really, you know, when we first looked at this, we were like, oh, it's so complicated. But I think the way Sally has broken it down and the way Corey has developed it, I think it's a little more understandable. At least I hope so. You know, do you have any other questions?
Hey Sarah, it's Jim.
Hi,
Uh,
Jim.
Hi. Would you mind helping us or show us where we need to update the catalog for
Yes,
the
yes, we
standards? Okay.
can definitely, we'll talk about that next.
Okay.
But Sally, I think, do you want to turn off the recording before we do that?
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. As always, if you guys, once you're into community plugins, any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help as you guys get accustomed to this. I'll go ahead and stop the recording, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the catalog.
Yeah. And the main